What's going on, guys? Styx here with the Token Minorities, bringing you week 3 of the JAL, and this week we are up against LittleBigness, aka Drew, and his Seattle Scizors. And yeah, I mean, he is currently 2-0 in the league, as are we, so this is a battle of the undefeateds. It's not quite late enough in the season for a battle of the undefeateds to be particularly significant, but hey, I mean, neither of us have lost yet, and so this is going to be a pretty intense matchup, to say the least. And looking at his team, it is comprised of Hoopa U, Garchomp, Mega Kangaskhan, Primarina, Gengar, Ferrothorn, Talonflame, Cryogonal, Girder, Thunderous Eye, and Coughing. And honestly, that's just full of threats. I mean, you look at, okay, that's Hoop is a threat, Garchomp is also a threat, Mega Kang is a threat, Primarina, Gengar, Talonflame, and Thunderous are all threats. And to my team, actually not so much Girder. Never mind, Girder's not a threat, but like over half of his team is a threat. And so this is going to be just a matchup of trying to sustain the onslaught and, well, survive the onslaught and sustain pressure. Because if I can keep pressure up on his team, I think I have what I need in order to be able to take him down. So straight up from his team, I know I said that a lot of his mons are threats, but in particular, the Thunderous and the Hoopa are going to be pretty big threats. Well, actually, and the Primarina, because I really don't have anything that particularly likes to switch into Primarina. I mean, Superior can switch in and not get KO'd, but like Choice Specs Moonblast should 2-hit KO unless I'm just like super insanely bulky. Mega Kang, even though I really don't like it in myself, I mean, you just can't deny like 125 base power being able to hit twice with an attack, any given attack, is pretty insane. I mean, Hoopa, while I'm not a big fan of it in draft format, but that being said, while I'm not a fan of it, I cannot deny that it is one of the scariest mons in the game. Just, I mean, absolutely insane attacking stats, very, very solid move pool. So, I mean, it's a mon that you really just cannot take lightly, or you will get swept by it. Luckily, because Garchomp and Talonflame are his two Z users, I don't have to worry about any Z Snatch Hoopa shenanigans. So the fastest it's going to be is going to be a Scarf, which, I mean, again, I don't really have to worry about all that much. The Z Garchomp is going to be a little bit problematic, but the speed that I have on my team should be able to handle his threats. And Thunderous, I mean, that thing's priority, Thunder Wave, is going to be very annoying. However, I do just kind of have to bank on the fact that I'm not going to get Parahax too much, because if he manages to paralyze my entire team, then I'm in trouble. But if I can just like trade one of my threats getting paralyzed for the Thunderous, I will take that every single time. Like, just 100% I will take that. And yeah, so that's his team. Very scary, but I do think I have what it takes to deal with that. Coming back to my team, I am noticing that Scolipede absolutely can demolish him. I mean, just running straight 4 attacks, I outspeed what I need to. Yeah, Talonflame is annoying, but as soon as I can get rid of that thing's Gale Wings, then Scolipede can outspeed that as well with a speed boost. And considering I have Mega Aerodactyl and Heatran, I'm not even thinking that Talonflame will come, so that just makes Scolipede all the better. Ferrothorn is annoying, but I do have plenty of lures. I know I'm saying annoying like 100 times, but all I have to do is just run like fire or fighting coverage on my different mons that can lure it out and get it low, because as soon as I get it low, Scolipede and Tapu Koko, particularly Tapu Koko, can absolutely run through his team. I mean, he does not have a switch into Tapu Koko. Like, his switch in is Garchomp on a Thunderbolt. Like, that really is it. Like, Ferrothorn, yes, can come in on an HP Fire once, but if I just get that thing chipped down a little bit, particularly with the Koko set that I'm running, Ferrothorn, even the most Spadef, cannot take it for very long, and also it will be heavily, heavily pressured with the different threats that I have on my team. So, yeah, I mean, those are going to be what I'm going to build my team around. And I guess I will just start in order. First off with the Mew. Once again, I am running defensive Mew. Big old shocker there. And this Mew is speed. Okay, so this is going to sound really complicated, but just bear with me. So the speed is to speed creep Hoopa. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory right there. You want Mew to be able to outspeed Hoopa, and then you turn on it. And then I added a little bit more to try to speed creep him, trying to speed creep me when I speed creep Hoopa. So, I mean, that's if you followed that, that's what I was trying to do. Just throw a little bit extra in there in case he tries to hit like 186, 187. And so I'm like, or 286 or 287, my mistake. So I'm just hitting 288 to be able to be like, yeah, I got you by like 1, because he does have enough mons that are right around there that he might try to do that. The set is Soft-Boiled, U-Turn, Will-O-Wisp, and Taunt. I went back and forth on this set so much. I mean, it took a long time to figure out. Soft-Boiled is for longevity. U-Turn is for momentum and also just to be able to one-hit KO Hoopa. I think with this investment, with no bulk Hoopa, I will be able to OHKO that with U-Turn. Will-O-Wisp for, I mean, his team does not like Will-O-Wisp. Girder is the only thing that actually does really like it, and Gengar, Primarina, and Thundurus, I guess, can take it, but they still get worn down by it. And Taunt, lastly, for that Ferrothorn, so Ferrothorn's not just able to set up on me. Same thing with, like, Girder, and to a lesser extent, like, Thundurus. So yeah, that's the set, and it's basically just kind of a pseudo check to like Garchomp, Mega Kang, and Ferrothorn. Really, well, not Ferrothorn, but I mean it can switch into Ferrothorn and take care of that. Really, this Mew is just kind of a, okay, I need to pivot. This Mew is 100% a pivot, cripple, get into my bigger threats, that type of thing. So that is what this Mew is designed to do. I mean, it cannot take hits from like Mega Kang, Garchomp, Hoopa, Thundurus, particularly, like, it doesn't take it, it's extremely low. Like, I can't just switch it in and expect it to beat those things 1v1, but what it can do is be a pivot, be an annoyance, and just not die and allow me to get into my other threats safer. So that's what this Mew does. Now, my first win con is going to be Electrium Z, Tapu Koko, and this thing absolutely destroys him. HP Fire is for the Ferrothorn, and then the combination of Thunderbolt and Dazzling Gleam just destroys the rest of his team. And then U-Turn is for momentum and also to OHKO Hoopa as well, because Hoopa actually has very, very nice Spidef, and if he decided to get cheeky, run like Rose Library or something like that to try to lure in my Koko and KO that, U-Turn is just a way of being like, okay, I'm either going to take out your Hoopa or I'm going to get momentum on something. So this moveset is very, very strong for his team. Dazzling Gleam just murks Girder. I mean, even if he's like max HP Eviolite, max Spidef, I think it still might be a 2-hit KO from modest Tapu Koko, which is quite frankly nuts. The speed with Tapu Koko is enough to outspeed Thundurus, which is his fastest member, and Thundurus actually with Prankster Thunderwave cannot paralyze me. So if he doesn't bring any speed control, like he can bring Talonflame, but again, I'm not expecting him to bring Talonflame at all. Like, my team just matches up way too well against Talonflame for him to risk bringing that. And so, I mean, this Tapu Koko set just destroys him with speed, and unless he runs a Scarfer, Tapu Koko is going to outspeed everything and just be able to, honestly, click moves and destroy stuff. That's basically the whole premise of this Tapu Koko. And of course, we are pairing it with Hawlucha, who also does very, very well against my opponent. I will have to try to get rid of the Thundurus so that he can't Prankster T-Wave me, but at the same time, even if he does, I will still be at 331 speed, which, while it isn't enough to outspeed like Gengar and Thundurus and those type, I should be able to still outspeed plenty of his team after I get paralyzed, and hopefully I will take the Thundurus down in the process of getting paralyzed or before I do get paralyzed. So that's going to be my Hawlucha, just kind of a last-second win con. Adamant to hit as hard as possible. The speed to speed creep Garchomp, speed creeping base 100s. That way, even without my Electric Seed, if I need to come in earlier to check the Garchomp, I can with high jump kick. In Acrobatics, but Acrobatics, if my Electric Seed isn't popped, won't be doing as much. Substitute and Swords Dance, just because I really only need Dual Stab with my Hawlucha against his team, and then Substitute is a way of me coming in on something like Gengar or Mega Kang and subbing up while he tries to go into Thundurus to resist my Dual Stab, and then Swords Dance just to hit harder. I don't expect to necessarily use all of that and to really set up Hawlucha, because Hawlucha is really just kind of, okay, opponent's team is weakened, I'm going to come in and just win the game, but these two do give me the option of doing so if I decide to. HP for an odd HP number, and then I just threw 4 in Spidef because I'm already getting the defense boost, so I might as well have a little bit extra in Spidef if I need to take like a Shadow Ball or something like that. My other true win con is going to be 4 attacks Life Orb Scolipede. I don't need Protect on this because Scolipede outspeeds everything on his team naturally. I mean, the speed is to outspeed Thundurus, and then just the rest in attack, and I just threw 8 in defense because, felt like it. I did reduce my HP IVs by 2 so that I did have a Life Orb number. That way Scolipede only does 25 damage to itself with Life Orb instead of 26. Might not matter a whole lot, but with rocks and stuff like that, Life Orb could come into play, and just even living with 1 HP will be absolutely essential. And then the combination of Mega Horn, Poison Jab, Superpower, and Earthquake murks his team. Really not expecting him. Okay, so I was showing Jolt this team, just trying to get like a last second, like, hey, look over this team, do you see anything that could be annoying? And he did point out that coughing can be very, very annoying to my Scolipede. Like, it can actually, not pretty much, it does just wall my Scolipede. And so I honestly not expecting coughing to be brought, but if he does bring it and Scolipede is walled, then it's like, okay, well, I have Aerodactyl, I have Mew to take it on to a lesser extent. Really, I just had to wear coughing down. But I'm not expecting that to be brought at all because, I mean, it's coughing, to be honest. But regardless, apart from coughing, this Scolipede puts in an insane amount of work against his team, and then at +1 he's not even able to revenge kill me with his Scarfer's Talonflame. Once again, like I said, can potentially revenge kill me, but I mean, I have Mega Aerodactyl, Heatran, and a defensive Mew. I should be able to deal with Talonflame if he decides to bring that. So that's just a very, very straightforward Scolipede set. Next we have Mega Aerodactyl with, I mean, Stealth Rock, Aerial Ace, Stone Edge, and Roost. I tested out this set. Well, not really tested out this set. I didn't test this team at all. But I tinkered with the set. That's the T word I was going for. And decided that, okay, if I put Stealth Rock on Aerodactyl, I can free up a slot on Mew. That way I can have both Taunt and Will-O-Wisp in addition to Soft Boiled and U-Turn. And then all I need is just Dual Stab to hit his team hard. I kind of wanted Fire Fang to be able to hit the Ferrothorn hard, or Ice Fang to be able to to be able to quad hit for weakness the Garchomp, but I decided that Aerial Ace and Stone Edge were sufficient for what I needed this Mega Aerodactyl to do, and this Mega Arrow is my way of checking Kang. Like, if Kang predicts the Mega Arrow and goes for like a Ice Punch or even Thunder Punch in electric terrain, which is quite frankly terrifying, Aerodactyl cannot take it all that well. But in terms of like normal spam, like double edge, fake outs, stuff like that, Aerodactyl is a complete switch. And even Earthquakes, which is something that Mega Kang likes to carry a lot, Aerodactyl can switch in, Roost, and then either get rocks up or threaten it with Aerial Ace and Stone Edge. The speed, once again, to outspeed Thundurus because that's the fastest thing on his team. Max out attack and then throw the rest into HP so that I can just take hits as well as possible. And finally, we have Volibee. Yes, that's right. Volibee is coming to this game because apart from Choice Specs Thunderbolt Hoopa, Volibee actually counters Hoopa, and also considering he has Garchomp and Mega Kang, both of whom are very prolific physical attackers, Foul Play from Volibee can actually put in a solid amount of work. Now, this spread has enough Spidef to take Timid Specs T-Bolt from Hoopa. Speed is to speed creep things, trying to speed creep Volibee. And then the rest is into HP and defense so that I can check the Hoopa, Garchomp, and Mega Kang as well as possible. I mean, Volibee, I think this thing's going to put in a ton of work because it actually, I believe, avoids a 2-hit KO from Jolly Double Edge from Mega Kang, like switching into that. Now that's not with rocks, because I mean that would just be absurd. But like without rocks, I'm pretty sure I have a good chance to avoid a 2-hit KO from that, which is nuts. Volibee is just so stupidly bulky. I've already used it in my NU League, and I'm super excited to use it in this OU League. Foul Play, U-Turn, Roost, and Defog. I thought about Taunt over Defog, but if he decides to try to like blitz me with hazards, like lead Ferrothorn, and try to get up as many, get like rocks and spikes, just try to wear me down passively, Volibee is there to be like, okay, well, I can just sack Volibee in order to get a defog off, because then also by the time he gets a bunch of hazards up, Ferrothorn should be worn down and I should be in a good position. So yeah, that's a team. Let's go ahead and hop right on over to the battle. Alrighty, so here we are in the battle, and the first thing I am noticing, besides the obvious lack of Ferrothorn, is the fact that there is a coughing on my opponent's side. Now, Looks like I owe Jolt a 6-pack of Fitz's cream soda, and no, that is not a euphemism. That is just something that I know that he... Wow, this is not going well, so we're just going to ignore that I said that at all. But yeah, there's a coughing. So my Scolipede is actually walled, and coughing is actually a problem for all of my team except for Tapu Koko. So yeah, really good bring on his part. I was not expecting coughing at all, but alas, here it is, and it's a problem. However, on the rest of his team, I'm thinking that, okay, Tapu Koko and Scolipede can just go in. Tapu Koko goes in with or without coughing in the picture. Scolipede goes in with coughing out of the picture, and then if Hawlucha gets set up, I can actually completely set up on the coughing. I mean, I don't think he can break my sub. I mean, if he has haze, then he has haze, but otherwise Hawlucha is able to just completely wear it down with sub and swords dance and acrobatics, so it shouldn't be too big of a problem, but it's just enough of one to where I'm like, huh, that's something. But anyway, let's just go ahead and jump right into it. I lead with my Tapu Koko, trying to see what he'll lead with. Maybe he'll lead with Kang, trying to fake something out, Garchomp to get up rocks, I don't know, just Tapu Koko seemed like my best lead, as it does have the U-turn as well, and he leads with his Thunderous, and at this point I'm just like, well, if it's Scarf Sludge Wave, I will probably live. I did not calc at all, but I decided just screw it, I'm gonna go for it, get a heavy Thunderbolt off on this Thunderous, get some damage as he goes straight into Garchomp, so very good prediction on his part. And I could easily just go for Dazzling Gleam or U-turn right here, but I figure since he brought Garchomp in, I really do not want to risk the fact that he's Scarf Garchomp and to lose my Tapu Koko, who just destroys his team. So this early game, I'm going to channel my inner Jolt and just play it as safe as possible. So I'm going to go straight into Aerodactyl, as he's not going to go for a Dragon move on my Tapu Koko. There's absolutely zero way. He will just be a Lord if he does that. And this way I can get up my rocks as quickly as possible, as he does double into his Kang, and this works out beautifully for me, as I am able to just Mega Evolve and go for my rocks, because Kang can't do a whole lot to me. And now that the coughing is in, I gotta pick what I want to take a Will-O-Wisp. I'm not gonna go into my Tapu Koko, because I don't want that thing worn down any more than it needs to be, and I also don't want to go into like Mega Arrow or Scolipede for obvious reasons, and I also don't want to go into Volibee, because that thing, I need its Foul Play to hit as hard as possible for the Garchomp, Kangaskhan, and the Hoopa. So I just go straight into my Mew thinking, okay, I'm gonna get Wisped, and my U-turns aren't going to be able to OHKO the Hoopa, but at the same time I can at least get a Willow off on this coughing through Synchronize, which will help me wear it down significantly more. So I do get burnt right here, as Synchronize is going to burn the coughing, and that's actually a pretty solid spot for me. So at this point I am just going to U-turn out. Just coughing's not going to want to stay in on a potential Psychic. Primarina comes in. This is a perfect opportunity to just go straight into my Scolipede, fire off a Poison Jab. Yes, coughing is coming back in, but it is going to be taking rocks and Poison Jab and burn, so I can at least wear it down a little bit, see if it has like any Spit F at all, and that just tells me that it is very, very, very physically defensive. And so thinking that, alright, Scolipede is unfortunately walled, I'm just going to go straight back into my Mew. He probably is going to go for a Pain Split, which he does, but at the same time I can just soft boil that off. I could go for Taunt right here, but I think that he will probably try to take advantage of the fact that I'm going to go for soft boiled and potentially go into Hoopa or something like that. And then if I go for the Taunt on the Hoopa coming in, then my Mew is going to be significantly lower than it should be, and I just basically will not be in that great of a position if I go for the Taunt and some offensive threat comes in to where I have to switch out Mew. So even though he could very well pack Taunt, I'm just going to go for this safe soft boiled right here, get my Mew back up to full, as he does reveal that right there. So good play on his part, but coughing still is in, and I'm just going to U-turn my Mew out. Or actually, I'm not even going to Mew-turn out, I'm just going to go straight into Tapu Koko, because I think he's either going to Will-O-Wisp my switch-in or go into... I mean, he's not going to try to Sludge Bomb or anything to hit my Tapu Koko. So I'm just going to go in. If he Pain Splits, then good on him. If he goes for Will-O-Wisp, then Tapu Koko can take. And I know I said I didn't want to risk that a little bit earlier, but at this point I have nothing... This coughing is actually being really annoying. So I'm just going to go straight into Tapu Koko, threaten a KO. As he does go for the Pain Split, it does a whole lot of jack to me, and I'm just going to fire off a Thunderbolt. Maybe he'll over-predict, which he does end up doing, and the coughing goes down. Now I was thinking, okay, if he goes into Garchomp, That thing's taking rocks. I can go right back into my Aerodactyl. I can Roost. If he goes for Outrage, I go right back into Tapu Koko, fire off a Dazzling Gleam. Just basically playing it safe and firing off my best move and attacking what's in front of me is going to put me in the best position, because I do think I have a pretty solid matchup given the 6 that we brought. And luckily he does sack off his Coughing right there, and that thing just straight up drops to a modest Thunderbolt. So now Scolipede is looking incredibly terrifying. He's going to go into Kangaskhan right there and thinking, okay, I mean, I have Mega Arrow for a reason. I have this set for this exact reason. I go straight into it as he does Double Edge. Hits me for almost 50%, including a crit on the second hit. So that is beautiful for me. And so I'm just going to Roost right here, as I think, okay, if he goes for Earthquake, good play. Otherwise, I can scout out, see if he's running Thunder Punch or Ice Punch or something like that. Although he does reveal to end up being Wish Protect, which is a very cool bring, but at the same time means that he's very limited on his last coverage move. So now I'm just going to try to wear down this Kangaskhan with like Stone Edge and Aerial Ace. I go for the Stone Edge right here in case he wanted to get cheeky and go into Thundurus in order to try to resist the Aerial Ace. But it's not too big of a deal as the Garchomp does come out. Stone Edge does 30. That reveals that this Garchomp is completely offensive, does not have virtually any bulk at all. And knowing that Mega Arrow can take a hit, I'm just going to stay in and go for Aerial Ace, get this Garchomp even weaker, because if this is his Scarfer, like the way he's playing it, this seems like it would be his Scarfer if he had one. So I'm just going to stay in, take that thing lower, because as soon as I get rid of this thing, Tapu Koko just goes in, and I'm just going to go for the Aerial Ace as it revealed that I am actually faster. So Aerial Ace, bring the Garchomp low. It's going to be an easy 2-hit KO. I'm just going to go for the safe Aerial Ace once again as he goes into his Thundurus. And unfortunately for him, I do get a crit right here. Now, he said that it was that mattered a lot, but really what I was going to do was just stay in and Stone Edge. Now, granted, the crit did mean that I could stay in and just Aerial Ace instead of going for Stone Edge. But regardless, I would have just gone for Stone Edge anyway, because, I mean, that was my best play. And I really, really, really thought about being cheeky and going for the switch into Tapu Koko, but I decided, you know what, I'm gonna play it safe. I'm just gonna take out this Thundurus. I mean, no use having him predict me to go into Tapu Koko and Sludge Wave, because I mean, Tapu Koko is my win con, and there's no use choking if I can just go ahead and take this Thundurus down, as he does go for the Thunder Wave like I thought he would, and I'm able to take it out with an Aerial Ace. So I'm sorry if that like mattered a lot, but I really just don't see how it did in the grand scheme of the battle, because I mean, Garchomp comes in, it was low, like Arrow would have been able, like basically by getting that T-Wave off, you sacked your Thundurus to get the T-Wave off, and well, he sacked his Thundurus to get the T-Wave off, and then Mega Arrow wouldn't have been able to put in as much work as it would have anyway. So I don't think that mattered overall in the game. Like, it mattered in the sense that I was able to go for Aerial Ace instead of Stone Edge to knock out the Thundurus, but in terms of the whole game playing out, I really don't think it mattered. He's going to go into Garchomp right now. I'm staying in. I can take an Outrage, but I cannot take a Z, what I'm assuming is Z Outrage, and my Aerodactyl will go down. But because it is revealed to be Z, what this does mean is I can go straight into Scolipede. And I thought about going into my Tapu Koko, but looking at his team, I figured that Scolipede might be able to just clean up at this point. Like, Scolipede very well could just win, because I mean, all I had to do is just Earthquake Garchomp, Superpower Kang, Mega Horn, the Hoopa, and Poison Jab the Primarina, and I win. So I'm just gonna go into my Scolipede right now, go for the Earthquake, pick up my KO on my Garchomp, and even if he is Scarf Hoopa, now I outspeed it because of my speed boost. And he's going to go into Kangaskhan right here, and I didn't bother calcing because I was like, oh, this is Life Orb Superpower. I mean, it should do a ton, if not KO. And unfortunately, I missed the KO by 2%, so Scolipede is not able to clean up the game. And I calced after the game because he told me he was max, which makes sense given my speed tiers, considering I have a Mew at base 100. And it was a 50% chance to knock out after rocks. So, I mean, I still am in a phenomenal position, but just the fact that Scolipede missed out on sweeping just by a little bit, it was a coin flip as to whether or not Scolipede would clean up the game, and unfortunately it does not. I was like, aw, man. But regardless, Kangaskhan does go down to Double Edge Recoil, and considering we do have a double down, I'm just going to go straight into my Tapu Koko as I do have U-turn, as he goes into his Hoopa right here. Now, I was feeling like, okay, I don't think Hoopa's a Scarf. Yeah, he revealed that Garchomp was not Scarfed, but I feel like if Hoopa was, he would have brought it in much earlier, and basically the way he's played Hoopa, it seems like this is a late game win con as opposed to a Scarfer, so I do get very risky right here by staying in with my Tapu Koko and going for U-turn to knock it out, because if he was Scarf and Gunk Shotted me, well then Tapu Koko just died. But at that point I do go into my Hawlucha. I should be able to live, actually I guaranteed live unless a crit, a Scarf Gunk Shot with my +1 defense from Electric Seed, then I SD up with Acrobatics and just win the game. So regardless of what happened here, I knew that I was in a spot to win. I'm going to go for the U-turn right here. I could have gone for the Dazzling Gleam, but I knew that U-turn would have KO'd, and if he had Rosalie Berry, I didn't want to risk that at all. Now, I don't have any switch-ins to Primarina, unfortunately, so while this is a, this looks like it could be a 4-0. Unfortunately, because U-turn makes me switch out, I'm not able to keep my Tapu Koko in to knock out the Primarina, which he does bring in right here, and I basically have the game on lock right now. Yeah, Volibee did a whole lot of jack, but Tapu Koko, as soon as it comes in, I just am able to go for a Z Thunderbolt and knock out this Primarina. So I'm in a very, very, very good spot right now, but in order to keep him from potentially setting up and reverse sweeping, I am going to taunt with my Mew right here, as he's going to go for a Moonblast and unfortunately get the crit and knock me out. I mean, really, I say unfortunately, but all that did was just kind of speed it up, because what I would have done with Mew was just stall out Moonblasts a little bit, maybe Will-O-Wisp, wear him down a little bit more, but that is 1000% specs. Like, I have not seen a Mew drop that quickly to a non-super effective hit. Granted, it was a crit, but still, I mean, that reveals that that is guaranteed specs Primarina, and so with Mew going down, this does mean I can go straight into my Tapu Koko, click my Z Thunderbolt, and take home the game with a 3-0. Now, I don't know what his Scarfer was. I really don't. In fact, he might have not brought one at all, which is kind of funny, because if we go back a couple turns where I had Tapu Koko in on Garchomp, depending on his investment with Garchomp, Tapu Koko might have just been able to 6-0 him from that point once I had Rocks up, because all I'd have to do is Thunderbolt the Thundurus, Dazzling Gleam the Garchomp, Z Thunderbolt the King, U-turn out on the Hoopa, Thunderbolt the Primarina, and Thunderbolt the Coughing like we saw, which KO'd. And so, I mean, Tapu Koko very well could have just straight up 6-0'd, but I was playing it safe, and I mean, I don't regret playing it safe. Like, that was definitely the way to go, but it was just kind of funny that I didn't realize that Tapu Koko could 6-0. Like, if I knew his team, I would have just led, after I got Rocks up, I would have just had Tapu Koko in and just taken kill after kill. So, regardless, Drew, that was an excellent game. Your team was terrifying. That Coughing was an excellent bring, and unfortunately it made me lose a bet to Jolt, so thanks on that one. But still, very, very good game. He's a very good player, and that was very strenuous for me trying to scout out his terrifying Mon sets. So, yeah, that was the game, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff, and this is Styx signing out. Why not? See you guys.